Well, guys, another toy fair here. Had a good talk with Frank, and the interview is gonna follow here. I think some parts of the beginning of the interview might have been a little bit out of focus. I apologize for that. It's kind of hard to run the camera and talk and do things at the same time, but you know, we're just flying by the seat of our pants here at Slot Car News. So here's the interview. It's a pretty extended interview. I got to most of the questions that you guys asked, and Frank said that he did read them on the channel after I had posted the video, so he did kind of know that the questions were coming. And, as you all will see, he was honest and answered what he could, and that's all we can really ask for. Hey, everybody. All right, so we're here with Frank from Carrera, America. And how's the show been for you so far?
So far, so good.
Yeah.
And we had a very busy Saturday, and so far it seems to be a very busy Sunday also.
Yeah. And how? I know there's been a lot of questions. I know you already looked at the questions on the YouTube channel. How has the NASCAR experience been for you so far?
It was just tremendous, and we expected a lot, but we still underestimated the success of the NASCAR way. So we went heavy into it with taking some risk on inventory. And the thing is, there's probably some of the fans out there experience they still had to wait because we had to air freight in November just to satisfy all the orders. It is really great, and that's why we continue to release new items than this year, as you probably already have seen. So we do some updates on deliveries on the existing cars, and then we are taking new cars in from the RCR team. Adding to new cars there.
So I know there's questions here you may or may not be able to answer, but we're going to ask them anyway. Regarding new non-Childress teams, is that in the cards? Obviously, this year the line's been announced, but is it possible that that some different teams could be added for 26?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Quite definitely that there will be other teams be added.
You probably can't answer, but Toyota or a Mustang, is that?
A lot of that depends on really when NASCAR will decide to go to the next generation cars. We're still running on Generation 7, and you know what the tooling expenses are on the cars. They're quite substantial. If they continue with Generation 7, then we will probably not do anything in new cars for 26, because at one point they will have to switch over, and just to tool something up for a year is just financially not feasible.
Right.
If they go to Generation 8, we definitely want to also expand the car base and not just running the Camaro. We want to have Ford, we want to have Toyota.
Regarding Formula One, do you have new F1 announced this year or not?
So we're still running 2024 F1
Okay.
Red Bull cars this year.
Okay.
Just because of timing. You know it, Dave. You've done it long enough. It takes a while to tool up the new cars to get everything right. With the late announcement from the teams, we would never be able to release the actual cars in the same year that they're running.
Right.
So 2025, definitely there will be more cars than just the two Red Bulls that we do this year. But from what I see, what we will do in 2026 will then again be 2025 cars in the 1/32 scale. On the smaller scale, it's easier and it's quicker done. So there we will always have the actual cars out of that year.
Talk a little bit about that, about the differences. Why is it easier and quicker in 143 opposed to 132?
The Formula One organization and also the Formula One teams are a little bit more lenient what they allow in the smaller scale. So what we do there is basically we can use the same car for all the teams, just changing the liveries. in the 1/32 scale, they insist that we have exact replicas of the cars that are running on track. So you have to do an individual car for every single team and for every single driver. And that makes it more difficult. It's a lot of work to get it right. Cars and liveries mostly will just be announced in February of the year.
Right.
So that hits, of course, what many people may not know, the Chinese New Year in China, so where nothing is going forward. So you basically can start end of March, actually your development cycle, and with all the approvals and everything, it will just, from my point of view, never work out. Maybe our product development team will do some miracles, but I don't just see it happening. So that's why we will always be a little bit behind the eight ball.
Any possibility for, and I'm sure you saw this asked online, for a 1/24 scale F1? This was something that was brought up when I worked for the company quite a bit, and the stock answer, guys, is that with a tooling that big, with 1/24 scale, it's profoundly expensive to make tooling in general, but to make a mold for a Formula One car, first of all, they don't get enough uses out of a mold to justify it monetarily, and it's so expensive to do it to begin with that puts kind of two check marks against it. Have I given...
Absolutely correct.
Yeah.
You brought it to the point.
Yeah.
No, I think that we all would like to see it, but financially, just not possible.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about so far you just do the main series in F1 or NASCAR. Any thoughts on doing NASCAR trucks?
Right now.
Yeah. Okay.
I think in the moment our focus is on the main series. Maybe in the future, who knows? But in the near future, definitely.
We have a whole bunch of questions here. The Carrera stock cars that had been done in the past, the Wing Warriors, 57 Chevy, that sort of thing. Any thoughts about continuing those in the line?
I think at one point we will bring them back. In the moment we just put a little bit of pause button on that because we released them pretty much in the last couple of years, every year again and again and again.
Yeah.
We just don't want people to get tired because it's it was a little bit much. At one point they will come back.
Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about the thought process about releasing cars. You all don't release as many, let's say, as Electric do. They do 50 new cars a year and usually 2 or 3 toolings just for the US a year. What's the thought process about releasing the product line that you do, the number of liveries that you do, that sort of thing? Give us a little bit of insight about that.
Yeah, I think we're trying to take a little bit more focused approach. It's and without talking down on Electrics, but it's more about quality than quantity for us at the end of the day. We want to do the right number, but do them correctly. And again, not talking down Electrics. I like them. I like what they do. They should be strong. I hope they will always be the number 2.
Yeah.
No, but we need them for the hobby, so that is clear. But we just have a different approach than they have.
Yeah. Okay. The trucks that have been released have been kind of I don't want to call it a generic truck, but it is a bit generic. Any thoughts about releasing American styles of trucks? I mean, with your models that you do, it's you're neck deep in American styles. Any thoughts about doing more American styles, specifically maybe trucks in the future?
I don't think so. We would like to see them, but you know that our product development is done over in Europe.
Yeah.
That is maybe not top of their mind, and rightfully so, because Europe is our main market at the end of the day. While on the Revell side, we are doing the product development here in the US.
Okay.
So we can do it there, and we have the quantities there because we are the number 1 market here. A little bit different, unfortunately, on Carrera.
Talk a little bit about the Revell models, about how the since you all, I mean, this is going back a few years now since the companies merged. how has the model business grown? Has it grown for you all?
Yeah, I think unfortunately the model kit business is a little bit stagnant. Just because people age out. Unfortunately, it is very difficult to get kids really into model kit building.
Yeah.
We are doing it, and we are trying a little bit of a different approach. Now also taking in pop culture license. So this year we are releasing Stranger Things,
Right.
which is a huge success. Just came into our warehouse here in the US 5-6 weeks ago,
Great.
and selling great. So that is maybe bringing kids more into it again. So it's slow. It's not easy.
Now, are those the glued together models, or are those snap models?
These are glued together models.
And you have to, they're just body and color, you have to paint them, you have to do all the finishing, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see. Oh, so two questions about digital. Thoughts about digital sound, adding some kind of noisemaker, I guess you would say, to the system to kind of flesh out a little more the digital experience.
I don't think that is in development in the moment. I don't know how huge the demand is. I've seen that question. I haven't heard that question a lot, I have to admit.
Right. I know when I worked for SCX, they had done testing about a box of some sort, a noise box with sound, and what they found was after about 20 minutes, people turned it off because it got too monotonous, or it just got boring, basically.
Yeah.
So, specifically about, and I don't know if you can answer this or not. Here in the U.S., there's definitely a lot of demand for analog to digital control unit, or a system that can easily switch from digital to analog without removing the digital parts. I know you all suggest talk extensive with Michael Rogatz about this, about removing digital parts from an analog running situation. Has there been any thought to making a control unit that can easily switch to analog?
Not as far that I know.
Yeah.
So I have not heard anything like that from our PD team over in Austria. Don't think that they're working on it.
And again, just to I get a lot of questions about this. It is suggested that people remove all of the digital pieces when you're going to run an analog set. Correct?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Okay. Alrighty. You heard it. You heard it from him. Don't blame me. About a little more about digital. It's been essentially since before I worked for the company in 2010 that there was much added to the digital system. Now I know you have a second generation of controller, the wireless controllers, the 2.4 wireless controllers, but most of the accessories have been in the line for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Any thoughts about adding to that product line?
I know that our teams over there are working on enhancements, new developments. When they will really come to fruition, I cannot tell you.
Okay.
It's, they're working on it constantly, I know that, but when, if, I cannot tell you that.
Right. Okay. Just generally, people, this tends to be a evangelic kind of a hobby. People talk a lot about promoting the hobby. That's something that they talk about a lot on my channel.
Yeah.
What is Carrera going to be doing this year, or kind of going forward to promote the hobby?
So first of all, since a certain somebody left Carrera, for the first time we have a marketing manager again.
Oh wow! Just for the U.S.
Yeah.
Right on.
So that is some time that we had somebody.
Yep.
She just started 7 days ago, so it's 7 days today. So don't expect any miracles yet, but she's very capable, and she will definitely drive a lot of our business, and especially using social media channels and so on, really promoting the Carrera brand, of course, but we're also promoting the hobby. Getting people into the hobby and satisfying, hopefully, the people which are already in there with new information. We haven't done that correctly since I joined the company. I tried my best to do it, but I'm not a social media expert. She definitely is, and I think you will see the Carrera name and the slot car hobby more out there than you had seen in the last couple of years. Because it's in our best interest to drive people into that.
Right.
And hopefully have them stay there.
Right.
And then actually enjoy it. That's it. We see it here, especially on Toy Fair. We have that big display outside. We see so many people still coming by and saying, that still exists? Slot car racing still exists? That's a shame.
Yeah. So you all did a activation last year at Watkins Glen. I attended that. Any more plans to do that kind of thing this year?
Definitely plans. In the moment, nothing is finalized. Probably not Watkins Glen. We will maybe, and it is too early to talk about that. We're just in the planning phase, but we will probably go to the home of NASCAR.
Right on. Very cool. Yeah, we had done an activation or two at the museum there, in front of the museum on the street during Fan Fest, I think they called it. So that's very cool. Are there any specific cars that are kind of a highlight that you all are very happy about kind of releasing, or you all had been anticipating releasing for a while now? Anything that's kind of a highlight for you this year in either scale or all three scales, right?
Highlight definitely is the Formula One for me.
Yeah.
It is, and you know it best. A couple of years ago, Formula One, even the larger scale, was a nice to have. But more and more people are asking for it. I think finally, how do I say it right? Do I say the US finally understands Formula One?
Yeah.
I think it is there now. It is very important to have that. That is definitely a highlight for me that we have it. And then there are a couple of other the new Ford Mustangs that we are releasing. I like them a lot. They just look cool.
Yeah.
And we had our Mustang GTY now for a couple of years.
Yeah.
It's a nice car. It's a good car. The new ones are the
Better.
Yeah. That's
parts always come up. I know this is something that bedeviled us when I worked for the company. I just want to encourage you to bring parts in, especially for the U.S. Molds that you have. I mean, certainly the NASCAR molds, because I know I just did get a question the other day about a parts list that was in German that someone had found that was probably something from the club, because I know parts are available in Germany and the parts list was in German, so someone asked if someone could translate the parts list into German, or into English rather, but I thought, well, if the parts aren't going to be here, what does it matter if it's in English or German, something like that. Are there plans to bring in the NASCAR parts this year, the tires?
No, we will have them. There's no question about that. So I think our situation with the parts improved a little bit last year. I think we were better. We are still not there where we should be. We are working on that. Parts is always, an issue. Also from supply chain side, you know how it is in the factories. It is labor intensive to do the parts.
Yeah.
And if you run a business like the factories are doing, what do? Do you finish a set which will make you real money, or do you finish the little spare parts, which is labor intensive, and send them out? So
poly bags and cards and sit there with a stapler.
Exactly.
How is the U.S. market doing in the field? Do you all see improvement in the slot car market? I have heard from some people that they kind of feel like some people in the business actually, that they kind of feel like the slot car market in the U.S. is a little bit stagnant. Do you all feel that it's still growing?
No, we still see growth. The numbers of the last couple of years for us prove it, that there is growth. This growth is maybe a little bit smaller on the larger scale, but there is growth. And for us, with our range, of course, it's also important that we get them early. You know, our Carrera first and our Carrera Go lines, and they are very successful, and that's where we get our future hobbyists, hopefully.
Yeah.
And that is for us very important. So if we can get them at 3 years old, and hopefully they will stay with it, and if only 10% of them will stay with it, with the numbers we are selling of the entry-level sets, then we will do good in the future also.
Yeah. Have you had success getting the first or the Go into a big box, into a national account kind of account?
Yep. So we definitely are a target. So which is a very important account, and you will see a significant Go set as a very significant retailer this year in significant quantity.
Significant.
Yes.
We like significant.
Yeah. So, and, if again it's just a couple of percent of these kids will stay with the hobby, then our future is bright.
Very cool. Scenery. It's been a while since you've added different new scenery, something I'm always talking about. Is there anything that you can talk about?
Look forward to 2026, yes.
Very cool.
We will take a little bit of a different approach, and there will be different materials that we will use, but there will be something new next year.
Awesome. Talk a little bit about the track that you all had. It's the second time that you're displaying the big track that was made.
Yes.
And what's happening with the track now? There's a bit of a change.
Yeah, so we have the track again here after 2023 Toy Fair. We display it again here, but it's a huge piece. It's very difficult in transportation. It will not get better shipping it to the warehouse back and forth again. So what we decided is basically to auction it off, take the opportunity here at Toy Fair, start the auction. The minimum bid is $10,000. And all the proceeds will go to St. Jude's Children's Hospital to do something good there.
That's very cool. You do look at the channel from time to time. Are there things that you feel I haven't addressed or haven't? Is there something that you'd like to say now that you're saying it directly, which is how I prefer it, frankly?
Yeah. No, first, I enjoy your channel. Secondly, I think you're not commended enough for what you do. Because no, you really you are a slot car evangelist, but there are very, very few people of any who know slot car business in and out like you do. You have worked everywhere, you have the experience, and you really are a voice for slot car, for the slot car hobby. And
thank you.
No. And he didn't pay me to say that. No, it really was how I feel.
Yeah. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that's kind of important that you would like to have mentioned now? Any new or different kind of direction that you'd like to highlight, or product or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
Really nothing to add from my side.
Okay. Alrighty, folks. Well, we've had a great time talking to Frank. I'm going to do a little bit of video around the booth here and put that over the video while we've been talking. And thank you all very much for stopping by. There will be more videos from Toy Fair. See you all again soon, folks.